Right. Next online, we have uh, we have a wonderful lady, British journalist and author, with a very, very special place in her heart for the people and very especially the children of Afghanistan. She is Yvonne Ridley, and we are going to be looking at the issue of the hospitals that are not serviceable for women and children. And obviously, it seems as if foreign aid has been deliberately withheld for the people of Afghanistan. Yvonne Ridley, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Sad state of affairs, is it not? And I think the key question you have asked is why aren't journalists asking about the real cause of the Afghan children's malnourishment? According to this, Afghan women have to head for the hospital um, only to get there to find that it is not functional, and then have to beg, borrow, and steal money to get into taxis to go all the way to Lashkar Gah to get possibly the simplest or the most complicated of medical treatment. And they are not even guaranteed that that would happen. Your thoughts?
Well, Afghanistan is heading towards the abyss. I mean, millions of the Afghans are facing starvation this winter. There's a real crisis looming. The aid agencies are saying that this is an even bigger crisis than the one facing Yemen. And we've all seen the horrific images coming out of Yemen of skeletal babies in terrible states, and of course the same is happening in Afghanistan. My concern is that the media isn't covering the story as it should be covered. You know, they're heading to the hospitals, they're taking these horrific images of malnourished babies, and but they're not saying what is causing this situation. And of course, the problem is that the Americans have frozen the banks. There is no money. The economy is collapsing, and hospital officials are watching as fragile babies are succumbing to diseases that ordinarily would be able to be treatable. But the hospitals are financially in collapse. The treatment isn't available, and this is all because the Americans have frozen the banks and there is no money. It's going to be very easy for others in the West to say, oh, this is what's happened now that the Taliban has taken over. And this is the narrative that some Western media are pushing towards, saying, look at these horrendous images. This is what's happening. This happened on the Taliban's watch. And in a way, it has happened on the Taliban's watch, but only because the banks are frozen, there is no money. It's increasingly difficult to get aid into the country, and the World Health Organization is warning that the whole healthcare system is on the brink of collapse. The UN has stepped in and arranged payment of 1 month's salary for hospital staff, but you can't have this day-by-day existence. There has to be, a strategy, a long-term strategy put in place. And I've just, Western governments that have supported the health and education sectors are just stunned at the way that this disaster is unfolding. But they have to step in.
Yvonne, I think that you need to hold Western governments responsible for this, because at the end of the day, the World Bank is sitting with $10 billion worth of reserves in the bank, and they refuse to release it to the Taliban. They are saying that the money belongs to the people of Afghanistan, and unless the Taliban doesn't go into all sorts of guarantees, arrangements, and agreements with Western powers, only then will they release the monies. Mull on that response for me. Let's take an ad break. We'll come back and talk some more on that issue. It is exactly 9:46 on Salam Media.
Looking to get your kick? Kiki's have now reopened on 235 Matthews Maiwa Road in Durban. Head on over for the Taste with Kick. We offer something scrumptious for everyone in the family. Wraps, chicken tikka, burgers, tender grills, mocktails, milkshakes, and so much more. Corporate and events catering available. Visit our social media pages for more info or call 031 209 0119. Kiki's, the Taste with Kick.
Africa Muslims Agency teams are on the ground in Afghanistan. Millions of people go daily without food. You can heal Afghanistan. Sponsor towards feeding a family at 1,500 in a month or any amount. Visit africamuslimsagency.co.za or call 011 834 8685. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
It's the biggest sale of the year, the Randery Jewelers Black Friday weekend. Fantastic deals on gold earrings, diamond rings, watches, and so much more. Treat yourself to a relaxing foot massage, gorgeous henna application, or sit down for our delicious high tea. From Friday the 26th until Sunday the 28th of November at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave. Follow Randery Jewelers on Instagram for more details. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Approximately 785 million people in this world do not have access to safe, clean water. In developing countries, around 80% of all illnesses are due to contaminated water and poor sanitation. Don't let dirty water end a life. Build a water well in Bangladesh, Malawi, Nepal, Zimbabwe, or here at home in South Africa. Donate to Penny Appeal's Thirst Relief Project to bring safe, clean water to communities around the world. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
Little bare feet on the icy wet ground. A shiver at his lips. Mud on his clothes. When he is cold, the hunger is worse. The nights are longer and the pain is more severe. What if this was your child? The Al-Imdad Foundation's Global Winter Appeal allows you to make a difference for refugees IDPs, and struggling communities in 21 countries globally. Sponsor a winter pack today for just 600 Rand. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
51 exactly. Yvonne Ridley is my guest. She is a British journalist and author, like I said earlier on, with a very, very soft spot in her heart for the Afghan people. Yvonne, I made a statement just before the ad break. Would you like to respond to that? And I'm also wondering, can the Taliban, what sort of negotiations can they go into to get some of those reserves released so that they can start uplifting the country? They can start putting money into healthcare, into education, into the economy to get the economy started.
Well, they can't get the economy kick-started because there is no money. America has frozen the country's assets. The banking system was already vulnerable before the Taliban came to power. But since then, development aid has dried up. Billions of dollars in Afghan assets have been frozen abroad. And the United Nations and aid groups are struggling to get enough cash into the country. I think when I spoke to Salam Media last month, I was talking about friends who were queuing at cash points for up to 8 hours to try and get money, but and when they could, it was only limited. And stripping everything back, this is a vindictive United States which has been humiliated. The biggest military power in the world has been humiliated by a much more inferior military force, i.e. the Taliban, and it can't get over that fact. And so it is reacting in a vindictive way, and I don't care what anybody says, that is the problem in a nutshell. And, the Americans have to, or the Biden administration has got to put on its big boy pants and just stop acting in such a petty, vindictive way. Children are dying because of these political decisions. They're dying of diseases that the doctors can heal if they had the right medicines. But they can't afford to buy the medicines because there is no money, because the Americans have frozen this money. And whether they like it or not, the Taliban could never have come to power without the popular support of the people. And I'm not talking about the privileged elite in Kabul. I'm talking about the ordinary working classes and peasant classes living in the countryside, which is the large majority of the country.
We'll wrap up in about 5 minutes' time, Yvonne, but two very important issues we need to touch on is, are there not any form of international laws that can force America to release some of the assets for the well-being of the people that are suffering in Afghanistan? And then we've also heard murmurings from countries like Turkey and China wanting to come to the aid of the Afghanistani people. Obviously, that would be some sort of, there would be trade deals, etc. Do you know what's happening along those lines? Because if that happens, then at least some foreign currencies coming into the country, food will start becoming available, and the hardships will start easing off.
Well, again, it all comes back to the Americans. They are the international bullies. And if countries recognize Afghanistan and recognize the Taliban as the government in Afghanistan, they will incur the wrath of the Americans. And, there could be a backlash in other areas to do with trade. It's absolutely obscene that the Americans are acting like this. And well, I say the Americans, at the moment, it's the current US administration. And this spiteful and malicious international bullying is preventing other countries from going in. I think that if America just stepped back, then countries would be prepared to recognize the ruling Taliban and give them a chance to govern. So this, if we just look at the situation in Gaza, where the Palestinians democratically elected back in 2006 Hamas, and the Americans were outraged. So what followed then was Gaza became a besieged territory, and the Palestinians have been punished ever since. They're under siege, and that's just 2 million people. Afghanistan is obviously a huge size in comparison. And, this collective punishment, it's vile, and it has to stop. The United Nations, I've often said, is not fit for purpose. It really has to wade in and start to do what it was set out to do. This mass punishment, of the Afghan people is untenable. Children are dying. People are fleeing. They're not fleeing the Taliban. They're fleeing extreme poverty and trying to get countries where they can at least make a living and put bread on the table.
My final question or comment, seeing that you touched on Palestine, you are aware that the UK government is now talking about branding Hamas as a terrorist organization. They're not going to be recognizing Hamas. And this was as early as last night, Priti Patel making obviously that statement I think it was the House of Commons. Your thoughts on that situation, Yvonne?
Well, Hamas is the largest Islamic group in Palestine. There cannot be a solution without Hamas. So by isolating Hamas and punishing anyone who gives any support to Hamas, such as wearing a T-shirt or even waving a flag, this shows that the British government isn't at all serious about a two-state solution. It's not serious at all about finding a solution for the Palestinians, and to turn around and expel or prescribe the political wing of Hamas it's a ridiculous thing to do, and the designation will really impact negatively on the Palestinian people. And again, it's going to be ordinary men, women, and children who will suffer as a result of this decision to prescribe Hamas. And even Tony Blair, and I'm not a big fan of the former British Prime Minister, but even he said back in, I think it was 2017, we made a big mistake by isolating Hamas. We should have brought them in to the negotiations, and because even he recognized that Hamas are part of the solution and not the problem. So the message that this sends out to the rest of the world is wrong. And I can understand why the military wing would be prescribed. Although, having said that, under international law, Palestinians have the right to resist occupation. So,
Absolutely.
but maybe that's a discussion for another
On its
time.
own, absolutely. And I think we've just overrun our time. I'd also like to have a discussion with you sometime soon on the tragedy unfolding on the Belarusian border, Poland and that part of the world, obviously, with the migrants there, just the treatment of the migrants and the heartbreaking, desperate journeys that they're having to undertake, but possibly early next week. In the meantime, thank you always for your insights, your time, and always wonderful talking to you, Yvonne Ridley. Have a great day, and salamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you.
1 after 10, thank you indeed for being on the show with me today. Hope you've enjoyed all our interviews. A big shout out to our producers, Ziad and Nasreen. Thank you for holding the fort. Thank you for supporting me and always doing a brilliant job. To the rest of you, and myself included, please, 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 you've heard there is a resurgence of COVID, so please follow the protocols very religiously. Mask up, sanitize, social distancing. But added to that, I do also have to say, take care on the roads. We're hearing of way too many tragic accidents on our roads. So please take care. Till tomorrow morning at the same time. As always, Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.
Breaking